I think I'm good now. Good evening, everyone. It is 5:01. I want to call our meeting to order. Our chairman was unable to be with us this evening. My name is Jamie Deloach. I'm the vice chairman, and I'll be running the meeting this evening. If you will, please stand with me. I'll say a prayer, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Dear Lord, thank you for our many blessings that you give us. Please be with us this evening and help us do your will, Lord. Please be with our world leaders at this time. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have an agenda before us. Consideration of a resolution to approve the agenda. Are there any changes that we need to make?
No.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve as presented.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Kiefer and a second by Commissioner Floyd to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, we now have an agenda. Moving on, consideration to approve the August 18, 2020 special call millage meeting, the August 18, 2020 regular commission meeting, and the August 25th, 2020 special call millage meeting minutes. Do we need to separate that? Because we didn't have everybody present at each meeting, so maybe we need to separate those.
You can if they choose, if those that were not present chooses, that it be separated.
I wasn't present for the morning.
The first one on August 18th, I was not here.
Okay, you can divide them out.
Okay, all right, we'll do it up. We're doing three different votes. First, do I have an approval for the August 18, 2020 special call millage meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I was not here.
Yeah, I was there.
Please let the record show that Commissioner Loper was not present for that meeting or Commissioner Burdette. Moving on, do I have a motion to approve the August 18, 2020 regular commission meeting minutes?
So,
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Burdette, a second by Commissioner Kiefer. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the August 25th, 2020 special call millage meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve. Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Kiefer. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I was not present for that morning meeting.
Please let the record show that Commissioner Burdette was not present at that meeting. I'd like to remind the public to please keep your comments to the agenda items only. Our documents from this meeting are located in the clerk's office and on the Board of Commissioners website. We're now moving to the consent agenda portion of our meeting. Item number 1 on the consent agenda, consideration to approve a fire release as approved by the fire chief and submitted by administrative staff. Item number 2, consideration to approve sanitation releases as approved by the tax commissioner, tax appraiser, fire chief, and submitted by administrative staff. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to approve as read.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Loper to approve the consent agenda. Have a second by Commissioner Floyd. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, like sign. Consent agenda passes.
Mr. Chairman, before we proceed, if we can ask of those that are participating on the call.
Okay, can you announce yourself if you are on the call for the commissioners meeting?
Chris Snyder, EOM Operations.
That's all we got.
Okay. All right, moving on to the old business portion. This is a second reading from our last meeting. I remember there was one stipulation that was made, so we could not do the second reading, so we'll address that here. Consideration to approve the second reading of an application by Deborah Option to rezone 27.68 acres out of 141.73 acres from AR1 to I1 and 20.58 acres from R4 to I1 located at 504 Godly Road, map number 399, parcel number 3A/3S in the first district.
Make a motion to approve the second reading.
Second.
I have a motion to approve the second reading by Commissioner Floyd. I have a second by Commissioner Loper. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Second reading carries. Moving on to new business. Item number 1, consideration to approve to rescind contract 20-18-003 with Rogaine Companies for a full body scanning system for the jail and approve contract number 20-18-003 with Tech-84. And Tech-84 is the company.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Allison Bruton, Purchasing Tech. The contract with Rogaine Companies was approved on July 7th, 2020. While jail staff were preparing the site for the scanner, it was determined that the scanner would not actually fit in that designated area. So staff has requested to rescind that contract with Rogaine Companies and move forward with Tech-84. Tech-84 has also agreed to lower their price from $149,000 to $136,000. And the annual service warranty will also go down from $10,000 to $9,000. Any questions?
I actually went to a training session on that before I came over here, and that is pretty slick. It'd be a lot safer. You get a full body scan in 4 seconds. They take their shoes off, hold the shoes in their hand. They can see the creases on the bottom of the soles of your shoes. I mean, it's really good.
I agree with
I
this.
think it's too good myself.
But
I talked to the sheriff about this one as well. And one of the reasons why they could not use it in that room is because they want to use it both for the jail and the sheriff's area as they're coming in. So they get a room that's close to both of it. And that particular room is what they.
And we did include the layout of that room in the bid, so they were well aware of the size of the room when they submitted the proposal.
It's kind of missed that.
Yeah.
they said this afternoon that they may, the company would come back in 6 months just to reevaluate the machine. They said they may take out that block seat that's there, and if they take that out, they would be able to spin it around how they want to, and they would be able to calibrate it. So they have to do that. But is there any questions for Ms. Allison on anything, or any comments from commissioners?
I disagree with it altogether. I voted against it before, and I'm voting against it tonight, so
Okay.
I think that's a little.
This already in place and installed, right?
Yeah.
Well, they don't do what they sign all this stuff. They don't get it out, they don't get it out, or what?
Their normal procedure is they have to go to the emergency room. I mean, sheriff's office, I mean, they can't do that there. But I mean, that's always been the procedure there. So,
I disagree with it anyway. But anyway, that's all right.
any other questions, comments? Okay, I will, at this time, I will entertain a motion for item number 1 on the agenda.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Floyd, a second by Commissioner Kiefer. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign.
Aye.
Okay, please let the record show that Commissioner Loper voted against. So 4-1, and motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 2, consideration to approve to authorize the chairman to sign a petition requesting annexation of approximately 27.50 acres into the city of Springfield, owned by Joseph Marchese and Jason Thomas, located at 249 Early Street, extension map number 388B, parcel number 29. Ms. Stephanie?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman and board members, there are 3 annexation petitions on the agenda tonight. If satisfactory to you, I'd like to speak on all 3 collectively, and you would vote individually. Is that okay? Okay. So all 3 of these parcels being 388B, parcel 29, map number 427, parcel 45, and map number 429A12. 388B is actually owned by Mr. Marchese and Mr. Thompson. This property is contiguous with other properties within the city of Springfield. The other 2 properties are actually owned by the city of Springfield, and they too are contiguous with other properties within the city limits. So staff recommends approval of both petitions. The city of Springfield will hold a public hearing on these 3 items on October the 5th and October the 13th.
So this is really just a cleanup
It is.
item here. Okay. Okay, thank you, Ms. Stephanie. Commissioners, you have any questions or concerns for staff? Okay, hearing none, what I'll do, we'll vote on each one individually. Do I have a motion on item number 2?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Loper, have a second by Commissioner Floyd. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay, that motion carries. I will read the next 2 out loud, just so it's on the record. We're going to vote on item number 3. Consideration to approve to authorize the chairman to sign a petition requesting annexation of approximately 17.57 acres into the city of Springfield, owned by the city of Springfield, located on Long Bridge Road, map number 427, parcel number 45. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Floyd. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 4, consideration to approve to authorize the chairman to sign a petition requesting annexation of approximately 27.58 acres into the city of Springfield, owned by the city of Springfield, located on Highway 275, map number 429A, parcel number 12. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Floyd to approve. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. Moving on to item number 5, consideration to approve a resolution to amend the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget. Ms. Carl.
Good evening, Christy Carpenter, Finance Director. Staff is requesting approval of an amendment for the fiscal year 20 budget. This is part of our fiscal year 20 wrap-up. You'll notice that in the general fund budget, there is no new funding requested. We're simply reallocating that budget. In the special funds, there is some additional funding, but it is offset by actual increase in revenues. So there's no use of fund balance in this request. Do you have any questions?
Does the board have any questions or concerns for Ms. Carpenter? And hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve alternative 1.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Floyd and a second by Commissioner Kiefer to approve. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Moving on to item number 6, consideration to approve a warranty deed to accept the roads, lift station, and utility infrastructure within the Georgia International Trade Center located off of Highway 21 South. Mr. George.
Charlie George, County Engineer. This is for your consideration to accept the dedication of the county ownership of the constructed roads, sanitary sewer lift station, utility infrastructure consisting of the water system, the wastewater collection, and the storm drainage conveyance system at Gitsy. We've done an inspection of the roads, the infrastructure and lift station, and is satisfied with the installation. We've received the record drawings, the O&M manuals, technical and material sampling and testing data, and are satisfied with that information. The developer has provided the warranty bonds for all the items being transferred to the county, and the county attorney has reviewed and approved the property transfer deed. The recommendation is to accept the roads, infrastructure, and lift station in Gibson to be county-owned and maintained.
Does the board have any questions or concerns for Mr. George?
No, I'm good with it, but the alternatives, there's only one. It says do not accept ownership of all or part of the requested items. And the only recommended alternative is alternative one, so there's no alternative for accepting the roads according to the here.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well,
They
basically,
gotta know and be below that.
yeah, your choice is if the county doesn't want to accept this infrastructure in the roads, then you can choose not to accept the
Yeah, there's
recommendation.
just no alternative written in to accept it.
Yeah, I think it was just written, yeah, that's what you're saying.
Just got missed.
They got a recommendation to hold it number one.
You know, alternative number one is do not accept all.
I see, yeah, it's a typo.
But I'll make a motion. Everybody's okay with that.
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the roads as stated.
Second.
I have a motion to accept the roads and infrastructure by Commissioner Burdette, a second by Commissioner Kiefer. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 7, consideration to approve the first reading to amend Article 3, Section 3.17, excavation, mining, ponds, and fields of land and/or state, federal jurisdictional waters or wetlands of the Code of Ordinances of Effingham County. Mr. George.
Charlie George, County Engineer again. This was based on part of the approval that you did earlier in regards to the Ogden property, where the staff created some conditions for them to maintain and improve their access on the county roads. What we also felt like we needed to do was revise the ordinance regarding surface mines for road maintenance requirements. So this ordinance change incorporates that information into the ordinance so that going forward, any rezonings for surface mines have to accept those conditions as stated, and it also gives some requirements in regards to penalties if they don't do the maintenance on it, and situations where if they fail to do it, then there's actions that the board and the county can take to enforce those conditions.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions or concerns for Mr. George?
No, I just want to thank you for doing that. It's something I have to deal with in my district quite a bit, but we have some service miles down there, so I'm glad we got this thing.
Okay. All right, I don't hear any other concerns. I'll entertain a motion at this time.
Make a motion to approve alternative one.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Floyd to accept, second by Commissioner Burdette. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on, item number 8, consideration to approve the first reading to amend Appendix C, Article 3, Section 3.3, accessory buildings in residential districts, and Article 6, Section 6.2.3, accessory structures of the Code of Ordinances of Effingham County. Mr. Reese.
Teresa Concanon, County Planner. In our department, we receive many queries every day about accessory buildings. Can I have an accessory building? Where can I put an accessory building? What can I do with it? Can I have plumbing? Can I have electrical? Our ordinance has 2 very small sections that deal with accessory buildings, so there's a lot of room for interpretation, and over the years, there's been very interesting interpretations, but in an effort to at least streamline that just a little bit, we wanted to make the 2 separate sections at least match each other before we maybe move on and address the other elephant in the room. And that's what this attempts to do, just to standardize the language. As you see, and I can give you the comparison, the before and after, if that would help. The Section 3.3 currently reads, accessory buildings shall be erected in any required court or any yard other than a rear yard, except as provided hereafter. An accessory building may be erected as part of a principal building, or if at least 6 feet from there may be connected by a breezeway. So there's room for interpretation there, and that has led to a lot of, problems. What we are intending to fix that to is accessory structures in residential districts are erected where they're in any required court within any side or rear yard, provided they conform to the following. And then there's a set of the rules. Maximum height, 1.5 story or 15 feet above a finished grade in the R districts, 35 feet in the AR1 and AR2 districts, which is an important distinction because in the residential districts, we really didn't have a way to limit heights, and we could have very tall buildings next to relatively modest homes, and that did lead to problems. But in the AR zones, we're assuming these are large lots and it's farm buildings. Also, an accessory structure shall be not less than 5 feet from the rear property line, which was before, and not less than 10 feet from the interior side setback lines. And also, the accessory structures shall be not less than 10 feet from the principal structure, so it moved it out from the structure a little bit. The second portion, the Article 6 used to read, I'm just getting to the important bits here, which accessory structures which are attached to the principal structure should comply with all yard requirements. This was in the yard section, this part for principal structure. Unattached accessory structures in AR1, AR2, and R districts may be erected within a side or rear yard, provided they conform to the following. Is that the new or the old? That's the old. Okay, I'm right. This one did give maximum height, but it wasn't conveyed over to the other section. So I can keep reading, or we can just agree that we standardize it.
I agree. My issue was has been because there was conflicting information. Of course, such as this one at the end, it reads all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith or hereby repealed. That's legally covers you, but if it's left in there, it's really not good for the common guy like me who reads the ordinances. If I find the old portion first, I think I found the answer, but you have to read a little further to realize that's actually technically been repealed. So, in a perfect world, we can remove any of the conflicting information, but I know things get missed.
And I think that...
Because there was a reference to a 6 feet, that's what I'm referring to. Because one portion references a 6 foot, and then another section that's a minimum of 10 foot, so the 6 foot really wouldn't make sense if it was 10 foot.
The problem was primarily between Article 3 and Article 4, Article 6, there was a 6 foot recommendation on setback and a 10 foot setback, so that was conflicting. Mm-hmm. And then there was also one that said only in the rear yard, and another one that said the rear and the side yard. So what we've done is take those two, clean them up, so now we have a one-time, it's a 10 foot setback, and it can be rear and side. Mm-hmm. So that's the basis of the new ordinance, just to try to get out of the ambiguity and the conflicting information.
That's great.
But it does correct both sections of the ordinance. It doesn't leave one in there and then correct it with this last sentence. That last sentence is, I guess, there just as a...
That's a standard.
Yeah.
So what we have here corrects where it's wrong in those other areas?
Where it conflicts.
We've corrected what the conflicting issue was.
Is there any other questions for staff? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I'm going to approve. Second.
Got a motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Kiefer. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, motion carries. Moving on to item number 9. Consideration to approve a resolution to transmit fiscal year 2020 capital improvement element annual update to the Coastal Regional Commission and the Department of Community Affairs for review. Mr. Reese.
All right, so every year since you adopted impact fees, this has to be submitted to ultimately the Department of Community Affairs and then back here for final adoption. This year, I consulted with Finance and Public Safety and Public Works to update the capital improvements element and made some changes there just as far as completed projects. And then Finance also updated the financial report, and all of that's included in what you received. At this time, we are asking you to approve the resolution that transmits it for review. So this is going to the Regional Commission. They'll look it over. They'll send it up to DCA with a recommendation. DCA will look at it. They may or may not come back with recommendations on our impact fee, non-impact fee program, which is in stasis. And then they will hopefully at least allow us to adopt this for this year. But last year, they did indicate that they want us to make a decision on whether that program will ever come back, because really we're zeroing out the finance report, and there will come a day soon when we're reporting zero across the board, so we have to kind of move along from that. But at this time, it's just a submittal for review.
You're talking about for the impact fee?
The capital improvement element reflects monies that have been brought in the past from impact fees.
That's
that
right.
program is suspended.
I've always wanted to get rid of that, but we've had monies that had to be expended before and it's always just kind of.
Right, there's still a little bit of money in there, so every year we have to submit an update to that, show what we're doing.
Are there any questions? Any other questions for staff? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve on number 1.
Have a second. Have a motion by Commissioner Loper to approve, second by Commissioner Floyd. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against, like sign. Motion carries. The next 4 items on our agenda, which is the last 4 items on our agenda, has to do with change orders for the gymnasium at the Clarence E. Morgan Complex. Our next item is item number 10, consideration to approve change order number 5 with R.W. Allen Construction for fire alarm additions for the Clarence E. Morgan Complex gym.
Okay, Charlie George, County Engineer. This change order deals with requirements that were made by the State Fire Marshal. The original plans had information that the contractor bid on that had the fire alarm requirements. State Marshal came in, added some other things with lights and strobes and stuff like that. So this is getting us up to compliance with the State Fire Marshal. And it's $11,153.40. So staff recommends approval of the change order due to the requirements by the fire marshal.
Originally, this was in there.
I said if we want a CO, we better approve it.
Pretty much so, yes.
You had this stuff in there, but the fire marshal wanted a little updated.
Yeah, and apparently this happens a lot with the fire marshal. They look at the plans and they'll say, yeah, this is good, but then when they actually go out there and start seeing the building and they start seeing where, you know, there's obstructions and things like that they think needs more visual, then they'll make changes to it. And even if it had been in the original bid, this would have been the number that would have been part of the bid, so it's not like it's some kind of weird thing.
Do you have any other questions for staff?
I make a motion to approve change order number 5 as presented.
Have a motion by Commissioner Kiefer, second by Commissioner Floyd. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 11, consideration to approve change order number 6 with R.W. Allen Construction related to electrical wiring to the basketball goals for the Clarence E. Morgan Complex gym.
Okay, Charlie George again, County Engineer. This change order deals with the electrification of the side basketball goals. They rotate down and come up, and Mr. Morgan, when he was looking through the plans and during the construction, he was given this option of you could manually crank them down or do electrical, and he chose to want to see the price to do electrical. We've looked through it. It looks like a fair price to have 4 goals where you can actually motorize them up and down as needed. $7,630.64 is what the change order would be. We've reviewed all the information and recommend approval for it.
Okay, are there any questions from the board or staff?
Are the controls for all these going to be located where they can kind of be controlled? So-
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think some of them are actually remotes that the staff will have.
All right, if there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
A motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Floyd. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 12, consideration to approve change order number 7 with R.W. Allen Construction for a dedication plaque for the Clarence E. Morgan Complex.
Okay, this is the typical, what we do with municipal facilities and all. We put a dedication plaque with all your names, Mr. Callinan's name, Clarence Morgan's name, just out the front to show where this project came from, you know, the commissioners and the body of the county government that were involved in it. It's a pretty nice plaque. It's going to match similar to what we have in the other buildings. It was originally a little bit higher cost. We were able to get that down to $1,765.20. There's a typo, it says 50, but it should be 20 cents. And county recommends approval of that.
We could do a county logo on this?
There's a county logo on it.
There is one?
Yeah.
There's no logos.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the other logo, yes.
We can do it.
Yeah.
It'd be slightly different price, but I can find that out.
It'd be nice to have.
Because there will be another, yeah, I mean, I can find out what the price difference is, and I think that would be under.
I wouldn't see hopefully not too much more. It's pretty
Yeah.
expensive plaque with
So you
vision.
want to just table it till next meeting?
It's okay with you guys.
Yeah, I don't think there's,
I mean, I wouldn't think it's,
no, I don't think there's a
Kind of
rush.
permanent things like that.
yeah.
And just to, I think originally we were going to do it, and then the original price we got on this was about like
$3,500, I believe.
yeah, it was, and so we went to another vendor, and so we can find out what the differential price is, just as simply using the new vendor and adding the county seal on it.
Could we make a motion that if it's not over X, we could go ahead and go forward?
Oh, a certain amount of money.
Until he gets,
Yeah, I mean,
I'll agree on this.
yeah, I mean, you can make whatever motion you want to make.
Not to exceed, I would say would probably be, would approve the change order not to exceed whatever number you want.
$2,000?
2,000?
We're almost at 1,800 now.
You won't get a logo for
So
it.
that's a couple $100 more, though.
Well, you're not going to get the logo for that.
I'd say 25.
2,500? I mean, I can try, I just don't know, and so.
Yeah, I just have an idea.
And if it doesn't work, I can come back to you in 2 weeks, so.
Just say the whole motion one time.
And make a motion to approve with the added county logo to the dedication plaque not to exceed $2,500.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Burdette.
I'm gonna say, I'm not gonna support this, just, I don't feel right spending taxpayers' dollars with my name on it, but anyway. Motion second.
Maybe we can take your name off and add the logo and do something else.
That's completely fine with me.
We got a motion by Commissioner Burdette, a second by Commissioner Loper. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, please let the record show that Commissioner Kiefer voted against, and motion carries 4-1. Moving on to our last item, item number 13, consideration to approve change order number 8 with R.W. Allen Construction to add floor logos at the gym and entrance foyer at the Clarence E. Morgan Complex.
Okay, this is another change order for the gym. These logos will be at the center court of the two basketball courts. They'll have the Effingham logo, and then in the lobby as you come in, there'll be one in the floor. The cost of this is $11,235.49. Part of that is the wood components that they gotta actually paint onto those wood components of the court, which drives that cost up a little bit. And then the logo in the lobby is a fairly large one. You know, it looks pretty much like what's over your head there. And I think it adds a lot of uniqueness to the facility and basically makes it your own. So staff is recommending approval of this. And one thing I'd like to add to this one, as well as the others, we have about $20,000 in allowances that were originally part of the contract for unsuitable materials that was not used. So a lot of this will not be actually additional cost to the contract. It'll just be taking that money that was an allowance that wasn't used to cover these costs. If that helps Mr. Kiefer.
No, I like this.
There are any questions or concerns for staff that we need to address? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion at this time.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Kiefer, second by Commissioner Loper. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, that concludes the items of our new business section. So at this time, we will move on to staff reports. I will call our county manager, Mr. Tim Callahan.
Yeah, just briefly, at the next meeting coming up, I know we were charged with the request to come up with conditions on the rezoning. We're currently fine-tuning those. We should have them out hopefully by the end of this week for everyone to see and to present at the next meeting. But keep in mind, there will have to be 2 meetings anyway, because once we add the conditions at the next meeting, we then have to, because it's been amended, it then has to have an additional meeting, which would be the first meeting in October.
Okay, anything else?
That's all I got.
Is it? Okay. Our county clerk, Ms. Stephanie Johnson, do you have anything for us?
Just one thing really quick, and it'll be, and actually I'll email it to you, is the August animal shelter report. That's the only thing I have.
Okay. Are there any other staff members that would like to comment at this time? Or? No? Okay. Commissioner Loper?
I'm ready.
I'm good. So we still have a bunch of traffic going up Stillwell Road with 18-wheelers.
Trucks, okay.
One come by that day with just full of that home. I don't know where they're going, where they're coming from, but they're still running.
I will let the sheriff know.
Gotta put some cameras out there somewhere. That's all I have.
Okay.
Mr. Kiefer?
Charlie? Sorry. You know the question. I have to ask.
Just looking at you, you're going to ask me.
Bunyan Kessler.
Bunyan Kessler. Talked to the contractor, Charlie George County Engineer, talked to the contractor today about scheduling on Bunyan Kessler. He's going to start the initial work at the end of this week and get going on it next week. He's trying to finish up the parking lot at the elections this week with striping, and then he's jumping right on to Bunyan Kessler.
I appreciate it. I have one particularly interested citizen that likes to bring it up.
Okay. All right. Mr. Burnett?
I know we talked about selling off excess parcels that we have. Have we started that process?
I don't believe we have. I do agree with you. I know there were several different times in the past where we talked about identifying certain parcels and maybe trying to auction those off at some point, but I don't know where.
I can give you an update on that.
We had a list one time.
Yeah, there was a list of about, I I think that was produced at the last retreat meeting. But once we weeded that down to what was actually not being used by the county, like some of the excess parcels that were on that list were our stray fields. And some of them were just simply retention ponds, other of them were parcels associated with the Atlas Reservoir. We did discuss the concern of the potential of selling the parcel in front of the Clarence Morgan complex. And we discussed this at a meeting. I think the determination was that if the county were to try and sell that at surplus, the process is we wouldn't have any control over who the buyer could be. And so it was determined it's probably best to hold off on that parcel for now. Grandview, obviously, we put under contract, and I think those were all of them that were on that list of 10. So I think we actually have to go back on the list and determine, which particular pieces we might want to look at now. Oh, I'm sorry, there were another one. The Trutland building, which we're currently using as storage. That one, the city of Springfield has expressed interest in that piece of property, and we're working out some sort of agreement with them because we need parking for the court days monthly, that they would agree to convert that to provide access parking for our use, and they want to make that into a continuous park, the remainder of the property, a continuous park for all the properties in back of us here. So we kind of held off on that one as well for them to make a proposal to us.
About half our list, isn't it?
What?
It's about half of our list, isn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty much, well, I mean, we do have some odds and ends out there.
There are a lot of small little,
Yeah, that's true.
that have no value.
Exactly right. That would be very difficult to sell, but those were the value properties that we had. And we may look at a couple of more as we start to relocate departments within the county, that we may have a couple of more that may be eligible for surplusing.
Good. Anything else?
No, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Floyd? Anything? Good. Okay. All right. Well, if we don't have a need for executive session, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Loper, second by Commissioner Burdette. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And we are adjourned.